recorded. So this is the part where public gets to participate. You get to give us any information, but we will only be talking about the actual interviews that took place. So make sure you have your comments focused just on the interviews that just took place. This is information you want the board to know before we go into closed session to look at background checks and reference checks. So things that you find important, we want you to share that with us. Okay. So when you're ready, come up to the podium, state your name, speak to us, and we'll do 3 minutes so that we can get through this pretty effectively. Okay, public comment.
Erica Lawyer. I'm just curious if any of the candidates that spoke here tonight and interviewed had any relationship with the law firm in any capacity to find them a job, a headhunting type contract, anything like that. Just checking.
Okay, good to know. Okay. That'll be a big no. Anyone else have a question? Comments? Doesn't even have to be a question, just comments you had about any of the applicants that were interviewed. It's like your time to talk. We really want public input, I promise.
Carla Patton, thank you for doing this and letting us be a part of this process. I did not realize that it was an open interview until the second one, so I apologize, Kimberly, if you're here. But I was happy with the two that I did watch. I believe that both of them were very supportive in nature to teachers, and then carrying that on into the next levels, which would affect our students. And I think that that's, and both of them were very open to being in the community as well. So I think that's what you need. I think that's what we need. We need someone who's ready to build those relationships and unify our school again with our community members. And I thank you for that opportunity, and I think you have a tough decision. Good luck.
Any more public comments on our candidates before we retire to closed session?
You know, can I say something, is it possible?
We'll do deliberations. You have to do
Well, not
public
about deliberating, but I think I would like to really have more, I'd like to hear what some of the staff has to say about what they've just witnessed. You know, sorry.
She's asking if they accept that.
Well,
Yeah, I'm
true.
asking, I am asking them to participate. We're doing my job as board chair. Come on, okay.
Come on down.
Alright, you all know who I am. I thought that building community is going to be a huge part of repairing what we have going on here at school. And I think that, a transition plan, whoever you guys pick, the idea of a transition plan is great, because, and if someone's willing to come in, before they're even drawing a paycheck and willing to come to a fundraiser in the park when it's, might be cold on Saturday, I mean, and want to get to meet the kids and get to know the staff before they actually step in as an employee is huge. And wanting to actually know who we are is huge. Who we are as a school, who our kids are, that we really do have a lot of great people in this school and the community that work hard for our kids. And it would be nice, it's refreshing to see someone that's willing to say, hey, I wanna do that. I wanna meet people even before I step in, because when you're starting in August, there's a lot of stuff going on. And we are, as a staff, we are focused on what we have to do, what our job is. Are we transitioning to, are we being asked to teach a new class this year? So it would be really nice to have that collaborative relationship before we get rolling. So I thought that his ideas were great as far as that goes, and his attitude about talking to people and getting to know the staff and being a good communicator, because communication key. So, as you see in our walls around here, communication is key.
So as you've been here for quite a while, I just have a question. Have you ever seen the school do a transition plan?
I can't ask her?
Oh, sorry.
Can I ask you later?
Technical foul.
Technical foul. Sorry, it was not on, it was on the agenda item, so I thought we could talk on agenda items.
You know, I think to answer what Mr. Cutlip had asked, you know, an email went out earlier this week that saying staff would have limited input, and I think the conversation we'd like to have, it's been arranged that can't be had. But of what we had in front of us tonight, I would be very supportive of the last two. I enjoyed, Ms. Smith, I thought she had a very good technical background, and, I really liked his enthusiasm. So I think either one of those would, of the choices in front of us tonight, or choices in front of you tonight, I think either one of those would be good.
Rachel Chenoweth, you have a very weighty decision in front of you this evening, and, I think there were a lot of right answers presented in all the interviews, and I just ask that you bear that weight, with what you think is right for the school and the community and the teachers and the students. That it wouldn't be just the right answer, but it would be the right individual.
Susie, my question is, are all three of these candidates qualified to do this job as far as their certificates, and so we don't go through the same process we've been through?
You can't answer because it's just your comments.
Oh, it's just comments?
Yes.
Okay, well,
Sorry.
that's okay, I
I
already
apologize,
asked.
I didn't know that either, because it was on an agenda item, I thought we could talk.
That's all right, I've already asked them.
Oh, confuses me.
And one of them isn't
I know, all right, I get
certified.
it.
So your plan going forward should be pretty, there should be some guidelines, I would think. And my other, I did think that Brian had a lot of enthusiasm, and I did like a lot of the things that he said, and I liked the other two candidates also, but, now I can't quite get in my head what I wanted to tell you. Mainly it was about the certificates, because that's been such a uproar. And then I was a little bit disappointed that none of the school board was at the teacher, the staff. There was a lot of people there, but, I didn't understand that either. So. Oh, you couldn't, they couldn't be? Oh, well, I guess I understand it now. Couldn't find that out.
Thank you for clarifying that.
That was my.
All learning things.
Thank you.
Always learning. Public comment before we go and retire to the executive session.
Cecilia Harris. I would just like to thank Mr. Nelson for giving the students here a voice. He gave us at the beginning of the week, he gave us a questionnaire and just a few short answers for what we think we would like to see going into this. And I just truly think I would like to see that more throughout this, giving the students a voice and feeling like they truly have a spot here and their voices are to be heard here. And I truly think that Danny Smith was a very good option. She seems like she would give us a voice and she would listen to us and she would make us a community. Thank you.
Better raise Brian. Just come up here and stand.
Brian Meaden, I was able to be here for all of them because I was coaching soccer. I was able to catch the last part of Ms. Smith and then the gentleman who was just there. I personally think though that Ms. Smith did a really good job. I think both of them were really well prepared. But when we're looking at what's going to work for our school district, I don't feel like what he had to share is going to work in this spot. We really don't in our school. We need someone who can really identify with our team here. The community is great, but like right now we're bleeding in this house, and so how can we start here and then slowly bring in more, throughout? And I think this is a good idea.
I think the last two candidates, Ron Warren, former board member, I think the last two candidates by far had the most experience. But I think Ryan, the last one, I think he really, I liked what he said about the budget. That he has to work with the budget and bring it to the board. He has to look at how much money we have, and he's got to split it up, and he's got to tell you guys, we have this much for salaries, we have this much for the facilities, and he has to help you with that. And none of the rest of them really had a grasp on the budget at all. So I think that's where his experience in administration is going to outshine the other ones. He's worked as a principal in the office and in the staff, and I think he's a far more powerful candidate for what our school needs right now. That's from what I heard from these two candidates. So I think our budget's important, and I think that's where we're lacking the most right now. So anyway, that's what I have to say.
No public comment before we retire for executive session. We appreciate all of your guys' insight. We will, now retire to the, what do we call it, in conference room? Okay. Yes.